All right, guys, I'm going to give it to you straight and I'm going to give it to you hard because today we're all getting screwed by the markets. First, I'm going to give you the bad news and then we're going to wrap up with a little bit of hopium because right now we're in real danger of putting in a significant lower low. And if we don't see a bounce right about now, then things could get really ugly. At the time of recording, Bitcoin is trading at about $77,500, and it is sitting just basically at the exact bottom from this previous month, which occurred back on March 11th. As I was saying, if it broke down below that, we were probably going to be seeing a significant dip, but we still haven't closed a candle underneath that level. And like I said, if we don't see a bounce right now, then this death cross could definitely come into play and we could start sliding down pretty significantly in pretty short order. As you know, last week was Liberation Day, and it looks like we have been liberated from all of our gains. The global stock market has been totally falling off a cliff since the announcements of Donald Trump's tariffs, and we've been seeing circuit breakers being tripped all over the world. And they're saying that this is the deepest and quickest dump that we've ever seen in stock market history. It's even worse than the Rona dump, and on a dollar basis, it's worse than 1929. They're calling this Black Monday 2.0, and it does look like things are really getting ugly. But there is way more liquidity in the system these days than there was back during the Great Depression, and maybe, just hopefully, it's not as bad as it seems. According to Eric Crown on X, it looks like the monthly MACD for Bitcoin is probably in for some long term pain. In his opinion, topping out here invalidates the 4 year cycle theory that has held up until now. As I've been saying, I pretty much agree. If it dips down and actually starts closing candles below this level at $76,700, then we're probably going to be seeing a significant sell off and we're almost certainly entering the bear market. And if that happens, then we're way ahead of schedule, and honestly, that does break the 4 year cycle. As they say, the trend is your friend until the end, and we are definitely in a downtrend, at least on short and medium time frames. And the MACD has dipped down out of the overbought territory, which, when that usually happens here on the monthly chart, it does mean that we're in for some significant downside. So we could come down here and hopefully bounce off of this 50-day moving average. But in positive news, we don't have the danger of putting in a lower high here on the monthly chart until we get down to about $54,000 or break down below that and actually start closing candles there. So maybe we do still have a little bit of upside here left in this bull cycle or the 4 year cycle, but we could certainly have some significant sell off ahead of us until we get to some kind of a floor. And if we do see some kind of a bounce back up towards the all time highs here before October, then unfortunately this has almost certainly stunted the growth that we're going to be seeing in this cycle. We might see some kind of a double top formation like we did in the last bull market, where it comes down, crashing about 50% or more before going back to the upside. And we already have seen a decline of about 32%. So if we do come back down here and continue to about 50% down, then that is going to put us down into that $53,000 range or low $50,000 area. And like I've mentioned, that is basically where the electrical cost is, which we have not actually dipped down below at all in the past in all of Bitcoin's history. So, in my opinion, that is a really great level to be looking for the bottom, but we don't necessarily have to go down there as long as we don't actually close this candle below that $76,700 mark. We're definitely getting in pretty big danger of doing that, though. And if we want to see some kind of a bounce today, then it's probably going to come out of whatever news is released about the closed board meeting that the governors of the Federal Reserve has just announced as an emergency meeting, where they're going to probably be talking about the global stock market collapsing. And when this happened during the Rona dump, they actually came out and did QE. But I don't think that we're going to be seeing any kind of a bounce coming out of this unless they do go straight to QE. And I honestly don't really expect them to. Plus, we don't even have an official meeting coming up until May 7th. That's still about a month away, and we could certainly go down from here until then, and we still don't even have expectations of them even doing a cut in that Fed meeting. So until these probabilities start to change in our favor, then I think we still do have some downside to go. I'm just going to be looking at this chart because if we actually do break down below this red line, then it's going to probably get dumpy, even more dumpy than what we've already seen. But if we do see a bounce right here, then honestly, we're still not going to be out of the woods because it could be a dead cat bounce. If you guys are wanting to keep the hopium alive, then we really need to see a bounce before we actually close any daily candles below $76,700. And if we don't, well, then you already know what it is. It looks like the only thing that can actually save us is that maybe this was just a mean reversion, and as Nick A says here on X, the median for the 5-day Gaussian channel has held support so far in the bull market, and it's currently at $76,400. As you can see, according to this chart, it does look like we might be bouncing off of that level, and if we do, then it's going to put in a bullish divergence here on the daily chart, with the RSI making a possible higher low here and the price action actually making an equal low. If this does play out, then this is what they call a weak bullish divergence, and it could see us having a bounce, but it's not very strong. And as I said, that doesn't put us out of the woods because it could still be a dead cat bounce. We have some resistance here at about $95,000, so maybe we can go back up to that level, and if we don't make it above that, then that could be a great selling opportunity. And I'll probably be taking advantage of that because I don't want to get caught out at the bottom of the market without any dry powder to buy the dip. But for now, it's not totally catastrophic until we do break down below this red line, and we could continue trading within this range between about $77,000 and $95,000. And if the 4-year cycle is actually going to stay intact, then we do need to see that bounce, and we could continue till about October, as this chart from Fiboswani over on X shows, which coincides perfectly with what I've been saying that the cycle could continue until about October 1st, which does line up with the historical lengths of the bull markets within past cycles, equaling out to between 1,000 and 1,100 days. In other words, and I know I've been overusing this term, but it really is make or break time right now. And I am trying to hold on to that little bit of hopium, but honestly, it could be completely wiped out by the end of the day. In positive news, if you have been holding since the bottom of the last bear market, then maybe you can just sit around and wait because we're probably not going to be dipping down below this electrical cost, in my opinion. And with it being at $54,000 and the low of the last bull market or bear market being at about $16,000, you're still going to be well into profits. And if you do already have some dry powder stacked up on the side, then that could be a great buying opportunity. But if the 4-year cycle is broken, then honestly, I'm not even sure that this is going to catch us. Because if the 4-year cycle really is over, then these waters are completely uncharted, and that means that we probably got to throw all of these previous models or charts out the window. So let's just hope that the Fed is going to do something, or there's going to be some kind of good news that can come out today and make this Doge candle right here an indecision candle and bounce us from these levels, making sure that we don't actually close into a lower low. But just remember that the trend is your friend until it ends, and if it doesn't end right here, then we're probably going to be continuing to the downside. I'm just trying to shoot straight with you guys, and honestly, it hurts me to do this, but unlike a lot of the other channels, I'm not just going to pump you full of hopium. I'm going to shoot straight with you guys, and I'm going to let you know what's actually on my mind. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are we actually going to bounce at this level and not break down to a lower low, confirming the downtrend is continuing and pretty much confirming the bear market? Or is it true that we've actually been liberated from our gains and they're just not coming back? Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. But most importantly, don't forget to do only good every day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.